Welcome everyone to U2U Connect here on RCR TV. I'm your show host, Limor Schafman. It's great to be with you. Today we're looking at accelerating your global business through M2M, through the carrier perspective, because the carriers are incredibly important. Of course, they're the infrastructure. They're the ways that all this data is being transferred from one place to another, multi-point to multi-point, as we look at this increasingly connected M2M world. And so what we're going to be hearing is from these carriers, both Telefonica as well as Deutsche Telekom, and they're going to be giving their perspective. So with me, I'm delighted to say, is Markus Breitbach. He is VP of Global Sales and Marketing at the M2M Competence Center for Deutsche Telekom, and Solomine, General Manager of Digital Services for the U.S. Marketplace for Telefonica. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Limor.
Thanks, Limor, for inviting us.
So one of the things we want to get an understanding from is that over the past few years, we've seen the marketplace for M2M just grow exponentially. So if you could talk about a little bit what you're seeing happening in the M2M industry, or I don't even want to call M2M an industry, I think because it just crosses over so many different industries. So rather, what are you seeing happening in the M2M marketplace with regard to different industries? What do you see is taking place? Where are the growth points? Where are the points where really are great drivers for business so that our audience can really find the places that they can hook into this marketplace? And Christian, if you want to start off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. You know, what I'm seeing is a couple different categories of solutions in terms of how they are growing and accelerating in the market today. I characterize them into mature and into growing. And mature industries that we're seeing have proven their business models in the space. They've shown relatively quick return on investment, and they are so massive and expanding now. You're typically seeing them grow at 20 to 25% compound annual growth. These categories are fleet management and telematics, point of sale, alarm systems, and telemetry type of implementations. So I would characterize them in the mature segment. Then we have the growing segment that's utilizing a lot of these same business models and applying them to different industries. Some of those are smart grid, healthcare, usage-based insurance, and the connected car, and then also some new emerging solutions that are actually cutting the cord. So basically converting traditional landline services into an M2M 3G or 4G data connection. So the mature category and then the growing category, building upon many of the same business models and ROIs that we've seen in the past, but applying it to new industry verticals.
Thank you, Richard. And Markus, are you seeing along the same lines, or are you seeing something a little bit different from your perspective?
I see obviously, or Deutsche Telekom does see obviously similar things, but in addition to what Christian said is also that the M2M market in the past has been, and still is, I have to say, a very fragmented market, and you see plenty of siloed solutions. And the change compared to a couple of years ago and the latest history is that I think the industry, as you didn't want to call it, is moving a little bit more into the cooperation mode. Let's say there are very siloed type of end-to-end solutions, small players in the market, but even small players need to scale so that we finally reach out to the big numbers everybody, especially the analysts, are talking about, right? So, and I think this openness and willingness to cooperate closer to just make it happen, to expand your footprint, to actually scale faster, because this is what, from my perspective, is missing, that we really scale as fast as some people were expecting us to do, or the market to do. This is missing, and this behavior has changed. The market is more open, and you also can see that when it comes to the solution perspective, platform play in middleware section, for example, it's all about open APIs, open platforms. It's about hardware agnostic. It's not anymore a discussion about siloed end-to-end solutions. You obviously can still find them, plenty of them, but last but not least, the real growth is sitting in the open platforms, right? And this is what has changed compared to maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, from our perspective.
And so has this changed how your companies are interacting in the business, since the people are trying to go into a more open, more connected, let's get this business really going? How is this affecting your business? And also, how are you differentiating one from the other? Because I know you're each approaching the marketplace a little bit differently, so if you could talk about that as well. And Markus, why don't we start off with you?
Okay. So what we, for example, did at Deutsche Telekom 3 years back is we have set up a headquarter-based business unit dedicated for machine-to-machine, which is taking care of the business beyond connectivity. A lot of people, when you take a look at groups like, for example, ours, Deutsche Telekom, we are not only a mobile operator. We have on one hand side operators in the group, especially in the US. We got T-Mobile US. On the other side, we also got one of Europe's largest system integrators, being T-Systems, and we help both of them. One, the IT guys to get more in the mobile connected solutions, and the mobile guys more to get into the IT solution space by bringing bits and pieces together. How can we do that? Actually, we started 2-3 years back to really invest into our partner network to find partners along the value chain of machine to machine, which is usually a hardware manufacturer, a small software vendor, a application developer, and we are the one putting those bits and pieces together, providing end-to-end solutions to the customers. And this is how we actually also differentiate from our perspective, because we got these SI capabilities and assets in-house, which we obviously can leverage in the 50 plus more countries. When it comes to mobile, I think also is a differentiation in our footprints, but might leave it to Christian to answer on that one. So.
Christian, what do you say?
Okay, well, yeah, one of the reasons a lot of partners come to work with Telefonica is due to our global reach. As many folks know, we operate tower infrastructure in 20 countries via the O2, Vivo, and Movistar brands. So we're able to leverage that, as well as supply a global SIM that works on 350 other operator networks throughout the world. So that's a really great thing, and people enjoy having that simplicity for simplified logistics and worldwide deployments via one SIM. But the other things that we do is we provide a high level of quality of service. So we provide one point of contact to get into all of our local operating businesses. So when you are doing a worldwide deployment with Telefonica, you don't have to have a direct point of contact to every individual operating company. We have centralized support that allows to provide this service in a manner that's standardized across all of our footprint. But one of the things that we do that is quite different from other operators in the world is we heavily engage with our partners through a partner community. And what I mean by that is we enable them to register their solutions with us, and then we promote and broadcast those solutions worldwide. So for example, as I work out of North America, I'm working with companies based in the US and Canada that want to do deployments primarily throughout Europe and throughout Latin America. But they may not have had the exposure, the knowledge on how to deploy in those geographies. Not only do we help them adhere to local regulations and certification requirements on a worldwide basis, but we also publish and promote their solutions to all of our local business units. So that essentially gets their solutions in front of 130,000 Telefonica employees as well as their customers. So we're not only helping them with connectivity and managing that, but also from a go-to-market perspective.
And Markus, it looked like you wanted to add something there.
No, actually, I see that the approaches we have might differ, obviously, and also we are talking about different footprints. But last but not least, it's still a kind of similar thing, right? So, as I said, we behave, and also we want to get seen as someone putting bits and pieces together, especially due to our system integrator angle. And this is where we have, you know, if you need a data center in Middle East, we operate them, right? So we have them as own assets. And this is, especially when it comes to global scale, obviously important, that you can follow your customer either or develop businesses, new businesses, in regions where most people might not necessarily have us on the agenda, right? So because a lot of people simply doesn't know, and what we do through the partner community, we also educate the market which capabilities we have, which assets we have, and why it makes an awful lot of sense to have a big friend like us, a trusted entity, to also help to grow those partners, actually to enable their business to maybe get hands on bigger opportunities, what having us next to them, right? So and I think there are different facets in the business. Last but not least, we are both big players in the global markets, and I'm pretty sure that there's a fair share in for the both of us. That's a given, right? A little slight difference is that we can't take, obviously, and nobody from my perspective we can't take all solutions out there in the market into the portfolio and really flood our local operations with all of them. What we do is we pick the ones with the best potential and also the ones where the partner is showing the best commitment, right? So a really clear commitment towards us. Sometimes it's also very challenging for smaller partners to work with a giant like Deutsche Telekom or other comparable groups. So, and this is about building trust. And once, especially the smaller, the innovative companies took the decision to go down the path with someone like us, then we obviously try to enable their business and to help them grow also by taking their solutions into our, let's say, standard portfolio, more packaged solution elements like we recently launched cargo monitoring or cold chain tracking type of things. This is what we do, but obviously we can't do that with everything which is out in the markets. This is simply too much, right? You need to focus as well. It's also about focus.
So from what I'm understanding from both of you, tell me if I'm hearing this correctly, you will actually work with your partners, help them gain the scale, but also then you might incorporate this application that they've created and make it part of your offering that you then put forward into different enterprise sales that you're doing perhaps in other areas of your respective carriers. Is that correct?
That's correct, I would say, yeah.
Okay, and Christian, did I capture that correctly for you as well? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, Limor, we absolutely recognize that we, as an operator, are not going to have the best vertical market expertise in all these different sorts of machine-to-machine solutions. So with some of our partners, when they develop really innovative solutions, we will take that and integrate that in with our back end and then offer a joint product to the market. We recently did that in the usage-based insurance space in partnership with Generali Seguros. We supplied a solution with components of both our hardware partners as well as our software and platform partners in a joint basis to provide a best-in-class usage-based insurance solution. We had success with that in Spain and now have since launched it into Germany. So it's very common that when we find best-of-breed solutions, we'll take it to the next level with our partners and also help bring a joint solution to market.
Okay, and you brought up a couple of things there. So, first of all, how do you define best of breed? And I want to ask this of both of you, but Christian, why don't I ask you first? When you say best of breed, what made you choose that particular partner that you wanted to do business with?
Well, typically it was a proven track record in the space, having successful solutions and deployments, and it was also the willingness to team with an operator on the sales opportunity. Some partners want to go to market on their own. Others want that hand-in-hand relationship, are willing to invest the time and resources to train our folks, to work with us collaboratively on developing new products. And that's how we make the determination as to which partners, one, would like to team with us, and then in turn, we teaming with them.
And Markus, you said as well that you look very carefully at which partners have potential. I'll put that in quotation marks. And that was very interesting to me. How do you determine when a company has potential? What do you look for?
So what for us is important is that it's not necessarily rocket science. Sometimes, the easiest things are the best ones. And also we need to take care a little bit about scale. We don't necessarily only look for mature businesses. It's also about new innovative things so that we can help also those partners to maybe get it into the marketplace and then to scale on this. Having this said, we recently signed, or it was a couple of weeks ago, a deal in the US about oil well monitoring, right? Those industries are very interesting. Is that something which is proven? you get some installations, but it's not really proven technology. This is sometimes with new business and innovations the challenge, right? So, but still, for us, this is worthwhile to take a look at, to support this partner and help him to grow. Also, then by taking this, maybe this is in the US, and this company, this small company, is familiar with the US market. We are familiar with 50 other markets in the world where we can help them to position their solution either in our own existing channels or with my direct sales team through the competence, the M2M unit in Deutsche Telekom. One thing. The other thing is, for example, currently, since a couple of months, I have to say, we have industries like agriculture, farming, where we have the so-called connected cow. This only today, I think, or yesterday, it has been in the television, German television channel RTL local, right? So there was a report about this connected cow sending SMS to the farmer once they are ready for insemination or to give birth, those type of things. In the farming agriculture, a lot of people think they are not interested in new technologies, but it's business process optimization, right? So for those farmers, they don't need to spend the night out there waiting that something is happening. They know exactly now something is going on, right? So it's agriculture, farming. This is very interesting. As I said, innovative things like oil well monitoring. UBI is an interesting space where Christian was also speaking about, and what we, for example, signed recently, really the last couple of days, can't tell you the name yet, can't disclose it, but it's a solution where we enable, on one hand side, the tracking of cars, like some other solutions in the market, but also combined with value-added services for the car dealers to optimize also their benefits. It's a little bit beyond what you can find today in the market. It's more innovative. So it's again about comparable to the oil well thing. It's more about innovations, driving innovations, enabling innovations, and actually grow together as a business unit with our partners.
Fascinating. And one of the things that is coming to mind, actually, just so you know, I saw John Deere give a presentation at a broadband PCIA event here a couple of weeks here on the Hill in Washington, D.C. And it was really fascinating to hear what they were doing and the amount of growth. And they showed the number of units that were across the United States and that are now connected through their special offering, and it was huge. And all the farmers, agriculture is absolutely one of the largest marketplaces here in the United States for using this, and John Deere is absolutely taking advantage because they showed connectivity through through a number of different their trucks and their plows and etc. happening across the United States. The footprint was absolutely astonishing. So it just shows what direction this is all going to be going into. So one of the things that's really come out now is innovation, as you say, new kinds of markets. So there's a lot of different kinds of business models that can be coming out of this. Do you work with your customers to develop new business models? And I would think that because it's a global footprint, different models might work, even if it's the same company with the same kind of end customer perhaps, and the same offering, but different countries might require different business models. So do you work with your clients on those kind of things? And Markus, if you don't mind starting us off on that.
We clearly work with our clients on business models, and it's not only different countries, it's also depending on the industries. The type of business you are in might require a different type of business model. For example, a lot of people might think that companies cannot spend big upfront investment. Some companies need to invest, so they are more or less getting forced to invest the money. Some others might not have, depending on the size, maybe on the maturity level, might not have the capital to invest in a new innovative solution where the ROI is not yet clear, and they can now obviously trust into the charming salesperson, but before they spend the money, it would be maybe rather easier to go into a kind of more pay-as-you-grow type of model. It's a kind of CapEx-free model. So we are really trying to elaborate with each of the partners as well as the customers what is the right business model, tailor it to the needs. Obviously, we also try to take care a little bit about risk. You know, it's a given that we also need to balance a little bit where we invest to or not. But last but not least, we are vitally open to take a look at various business models, and not only per country, it's also per industry and the maturity level of the company we are right now talking to.
Christian, how about from your perspective?
Yeah, some of the interesting things that we've been doing, we've been working, obviously in the usage-based insurance space. That has a very, very different model because the purpose of the whole pay-as-you-drive is to basically reduce rates to the end subscriber. So you have to have a unique way of handling that. We've also done some other things in the tablet space where historically, if you got a tablet and you would basically pay a subscription every month, postpaid for a gigabyte or 5 gigabytes, we have the ability now to create things like bucket plans for on-demand. So you could buy based upon a day or a certain amount of gigabytes and basically buy it as you need it. So these on-demand type of models. We're also supporting some customers in different segments for prepaid. So they may have a set time that they want to have connectivity tied to a specific application, and our platform on the back end supports that for them and supplies a predetermined time period that allows them to deploy and not have to worry about ongoing subscriptions, overage rates, things of that nature. So we're always looking and willing to work with our partners to develop these different models that meet their specific business needs and really try to align the time at which they receive revenue from the time that they have costs associated with the backhaul for their specific application.
Perfect. And Markus, from your perspective, how are your business models being affected by what your customer is doing? How are they changing at all?
They are changing clearly, and one of the reasons why we, for example, got set up is that we shall try to figure out what is actually the position, the role a Deutsche Telekom can play in the M2M market. And it's not always only providing a SIM card, right, or talking about prices per megabyte. That's obviously a cost factor, and if you ask a local mobile operator organization, it's also crucial to their business. But coming from a customer perspective, which is last but not least the important thing, it's very often about a end-to-end solution. They shouldn't care too much about the component connectivity. They shouldn't care about the component module hardware. They shouldn't care about the component software. They should care about the features and is their business process getting optimized. And by having that said, this will also lead into a transformation of business models, right? So getting a little bit away from price per megabyte or pooling type of discussions it's a price per unit you use, right? So, and it's really then it's a usage-based payment type of thing, or unit-based payment type of thing, instead of really talking price per megabyte. It's the connectivity is incorporated in the overall solution. Why do we do that? One thing is business modeling. The other thing is also it makes it pretty easy for a customer to work with the whole thing, right? They don't understand M2M. They don't understand cloud. A lot of people in the industry, like, let's stay with the example, farming, agriculture. Do you really believe they have an idea about the connectivity types and think, no, not at all, and they shouldn't. It's not their business. We take care of this and also reflect it in a business model and try to get away from the price per megabyte, price per hardware piece. We actually provide then tailored offerings where then everything is included which is required to fulfill the needs of the actual customer.
All right, that makes perfect sense. Christian, any further thoughts on that?
No, I mean, definitely people, when they're looking to do deployments hand in hand with operators, it's going well beyond the traditional per megabyte type of discussion. They're looking for a lot of deeper level integration. Maybe they want to tie into our back end more. They want to get location-based services. They want to get location elements out of the network. So there's many different things that people are now taking their applications to the next level, and we're always looking for ways to co-develop and provide additional value beyond your traditional connectivity plan.
And Markus, it looked like maybe you wanted to say something further.
No, I agree with Christian. I will be carefully listening.
So let me ask you, looking to the future, where do you see M2M going? and where do you see your specific particular companies going and changing in terms of both the offerings, the business models, anything else that you see happening within your company with regard to M2M? But first, like a market trend analysis, if you don't mind giving us that, and then the impact that each of your carriers will have in that. And Markus, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I will. So obviously the world is changing. We were speaking quite a lot already about business modeling and how the market is evolving, and also the willingness and openness in the industry to cooperate closer, as maybe in the past where a lot of people stayed pretty much in their siloed type of thing. And the biggest trend we can see is, obviously a lot of people are already talking about, is, for example, big data. And big data, not in the sense take data, store it. It's more about the business intelligence behind it. It's about analyzation of data in almost real time, run multiple actions based on those analyzations, and actually make some money out of the data you collect. So I know this will immediately raise the question security. Are we taking care of this? Obviously we have to, and it's also always depending on who actually owns the data, right? So it's not that any data can get used by everybody. I know a lot of people believe that and would hope that, but it usually belongs to someone. And within those rules, we try to help also to get those type of business intelligence solutions out in the market to help to really handle those huge mass of data. Can you imagine if any 2 feet or so are sensors in the bottom, in the walls, and wherever? This is huge data. You cannot even imagine the volume of data you collect only within an hour, right? So, and this needs to get handled. It needs to get, on one hand side, transported, stored, and analyzed, and then multiple action needs to get run out of this. And you can build on top of this further new business models, right, which are far beyond what we can think about today.
Christian, how about for you? What do you see happening in the future, and where is Telefonica going to play in the evolving M2M ecosystem?
Well, to add on to that, I think a couple of the key things that we're seeing right now is, one, our partners are expecting a much higher level quality of service, particularly when they're doing a worldwide deployment. And supplying that either through a direct relationship with us or through a series of our operator partners, I think is going to be key, both from a quality perspective and also from a simplified logistics perspective. So one of the things that we've done, back to North America, all of our support is provided locally to our partners based in the US and Canada, all from our data center in Miami. We've duplicated that in other regions where we offer solutions, so these partners can all go for one single point of contact. To extend that even further, we have also partnered with other operators through a worldwide alliance that allows our partners to deploy via one SIM, but also have that direct-to-operator relationship, so they could have simplified logistics, they could build one product, deploy it worldwide, and then have that direct-to-operator level for quality of service. The other trend that we're seeing, and this kind of ties back into the operator alliance, is we are now seeing people deploying machine-to-machine solutions with very, very high bandwidth plans. As we're starting to see 3 and 4G networks proliferate, the quality is increasing tremendously, the latency is decreasing. Things where we typically saw DSL or T1s for mission-critical applications, we're now seeing machine-to-machine come in as a backup, or in many cases as a primary means of data transport, because the quality of those type of networks has gotten so great in the past years.
Fascinating. So we're going to see a lot of very interesting developments over the next couple of years. So now let's go back to the companies as our final question. When these companies need to qualify, you're going to be choosing them, because I'm sure as the marketplace grows, more and more companies are going to be coming to both Deutsche Telekom and Telefonica wanting their services. So when you're going to be looking at those companies, what do they need to come to you with? What do they need to think about before they even come to a carrier such as yourselves, and be ready to either answer particular questions, or have thought about their business in a particular way, or have certain questions questions for you. What are, let's say, 2 or 3 things that they really need to key in on in order to make sure that they can really do business with you? And Christian, why don't we start off with you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'd obviously like to see, what their target market is and what their planned distribution strategy is. But beyond, the basics there, we also can assist even before they have brought a product to market. We offer developer programs where they could get on our network, even with devices that have not even gone through certification, where they want to do some testing, they want to do R&D, they want to start tying into our back-end APIs even before their solution is completely baked. The main things that we want to convey is that you don't have to have it all figured out, but if you're looking for someone to team with from a partnership perspective, we'd like to get a feel for where you want to go, and there's a lot of tools and assistance that we could supply with both hardware design, guidance, certification, as well as business model planning. So as much as I'd like to say they need to have everything fully baked, that's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of things that we could add in based upon our experience working with the hundreds and hundreds of applications we've partnered with our customers to bring to market, that we could team with them, even if it's early stage and in the product development lifecycle.
Wonderful, Christian. Thank you. And Markus, how about for yourself?
Actually, this is a relatively difficult question to answer. There are so many different type of companies out there, and also different stages, maturity levels. But last but not least, it's important what Christian, for example, said early involvement in the developer space, or so providing SDKs, APIs, everything that they can actually build stuff on it. But what we also do is we listen to plenty of people in very, very early stages as well, right? It's easy to say no, but it's also very easy to miss out any chance, right? So, and therefore I spoke only myself and my team. We continuously also speak to university spin-offs, for example, because this is sometimes where the innovation is coming from. It's not from the big mature companies. So we are very, very open to get into a dialogue also with very early stage type of companies when it comes to evaluate, maybe sometimes to give a little bit guidance what they should do, how they should adjust to maybe get a candidate for our, let's say, portfolio elements. On the other side, we are also interested in people with a clear idea about how they want to develop their business, right? So what is the target segment? And Christian was partially saying this as well. What is the target segment? What is the idea? Why should people buy this maybe, right? So that there's a kind of proof that they know exactly what they are doing. Maybe not perfectly done already, but at least the vision needs to be there. And and I think this is at least half of it, the passion to really drive and develop further, and also the commitment I was mentioning during this interview already, the commitment to work with a big partner with all the pros and cons this might bring. But last but not least, it's a win-win for everybody, and we can help them to scale, right? So that's what it is.
Fantastic and very exciting. A lot of potential over there. And as you said, you both brought up some really important basic business cases that people need to have thought about their plan, have a strong vision, have a clear vision, and an execution plan about how to achieve it. Even if that gets changed over time, but at least to come with you with that, so they've really thought about what it is that they want to do. So let me ask you both, if you don't mind telling us all, how can we be in touch with you? If we want to work with Deutsche Telekom and with Telefonica, how can we be in touch with you to pursue a conversation? And Markus, why don't you answer that first?
So we got, for partners, interested people, a web portal online where you can either register to get a little bit beyond public information, where you also can upload your solution to get in touch with us. This is telecom.com/M2M. Webpage where you can register. There's also a marketplace. If you got something to sell already, it's an e-commerce portal where you can upload your stuff. And besides, you can find me on LinkedIn, and if you got a question and an interest, drop me a note, and I will guide you through the big Deutsche Telekom organization or our organization to the right person if I can't help you. But if you can't find someone else, just contact me. My profile you can find on LinkedIn.
Wonderful, Markus. Thank you. And Christian?
Yeah, and Limor, you can find out more information about our solutions at m2m.telefonica.com. personally reach out to me on LinkedIn. Also, we will have our whole North American team out together at the upcoming CTIA MobileCon in the fall, and we can have discussions prior to that, or if you'd like to schedule a face-to-face with any of our team in North America, just let me know and we can coordinate around that show in October.
Wonderful. Both of you, thank you. Christian, Markus, fantastic information that you shared with all of us here at RCR TV and the U2U Connect show. Thank you so much for being with us. And I look forward to seeing you at the respective shows and see what kind of new innovative products come out in M2M on both your carrier networks. Thank you.
Thank you
very much, Limor.